Hello, greetings and salutations. Okay, this is a technique that I used when I want to learn a new song or get it kind of in my hands, so to speak. I'm going to use a song called Wink and a Smile. It's from the movie Sleepless in Seattle. I start by voicing the chords, getting the voices down, starting the whatever hand you're comfortable with, like you do bass. In this case, it's a C6, goes to A flat 7, back to C6, to E minor 7, then it goes A7, and then D7, or I do a D9, and then G7, what I add a augmented here, make it a little fancy, and then back to your C6. Okay, so to practice this, I voice the same chords in both hands and just run through them so that I can get the transition. Okay. And it helps, get to the point where you're doing it in time with the music and you can actually sing it. I remember the days of just keeping time and hanging around in sleepy towns forever. A back road's empty for miles. Okay, that's the first part. Once you're comfortable with that, you can also do it with the bass. Play around with the rhythm. Keep time with the bass, and just kind of pop in and out with the chords. The next part of that would be to go back to your full chord voicing here. Do the same thing, popping it back and forth. And this is the part where you can't get out of a book. You really just kind of have to do your own thing. Feel it. Try to use your hands to keep time and then sing along. So what I'm going to do is syncopate as much of this as I can. And notice my left hand is just playing dot, 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 dot. All the magic occurs in the syncopation between the two. Syncopation. I just made a word up. Okay, once you get comfortable with that, the next step is to play around with the melody. I'm going to do bass and chords, and now all I'm going to do is arpeggiate a bit. So now that we've got the chords down in our hands, we know where to go. All you need to do is move your fingers up and down those chords. What you hit doesn't matter. You already know what notes there are. You can hit all the notes, or you can hit one of the notes, or you can hit a run of them, run up, down. It's the same notes we've been playing the entire time. So let's try that with the bass. And I'm going to just rock back and forth the double bass here, like this. Ready, and... So it's already evolving. We haven't changed anything. All we've changed is the rhythm. The next step above that would be to, you've got your, the root and 5, which you already know. So you can go. So the root and the 5 is crucial for when you want to do stride. So here's my chord that we've been playing around with here. And forget the right hand for a second. We're going to go bass, the chord, 5, chord, bass, chord, 5, chord, bass, chord, 5, chord, bass, chord, 5, chord, bass, chord, 5. So again, that's going to be another several days of practicing, of just starting with the chord structure you just played and adding the bass. It's 5 and 1, and you can add the 3 in, but basically you can construct your bass line based off of the same notes you just learned here. So any note here, down here, can be the bass. So we'll stick to 1, 5, 1. And then once that's comfortable, sing it with just the left hand. I remember the days of just keeping time, hanging around in sleepy towns forever. Back roads empty for miles. Now, once you've got that down, you can reintroduce this hand. And since we've just learned how to do the stride, it's new, all we're going to do with this hand is bounce. We're going to bounce a little bit of syncopation against it. Of course, I fucked it all up, but you get the gist of it. You're just bouncing it around. We haven't added any other notes except for the chord notes still. The next part of that is once you've got everything down, chords, and once you get your stride down, well, you don't really need the stride down for this, but it's sure fun. If you want to improvise, all you have to do is move between the notes. So the next thing I would practice is, let's go back to just the single bass note, oompa, oompa. Take your chord tones. Once you're good at running up and down the chord tones, add some chromatics. Just roll up and down. And add it here and there. But play with it. Your own ear is going to tell you what you like and dislike. So I'm gonna voice this in this hand, and I'm gonna solo with this hand. Chord tones. And then this stuff. A lot of the stuff that you hear that sounds great it's just it's trilling and grinding notes. So here's your chord tones. We'll grind the notes in. A neighboring tone. So that's the next step, incorporating chromatics. Just passing tones, chromatic. And you're still, your home base is your chord tones that you've just practiced on. Alright, next would be my favorite, the blues scale. You already know the major scale, so if you're playing along on the chords and all that crap, if you got a C, if the song is in the key of C, so I can just run up and down the major scale the entire time. Unless I get something goofy, so we're following the chords. The next one is a A minor. So A minor scale. Being mindful of the chord tones and what they're doing. But it would help to learn the blues scale, which is 1, flat 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 7, and root. And what I do is I will mix that in with whatever scale I'm playing. So in the case of C, you just play your normal C scale and add the extra notes, which is a flat 3, a flat 5, and a flat 7. For most really bluesy, jazzy pieces of music, that's all everyone's doing. There really isn't anything fancy. If you're listening to Bud Powell or Chick Corea or one of those amazing jazz pianists, that's a whole different ballgame. That's modal scales, and that's beyond my ability. But most of the stuff that you hear that people, that is easy to impress people, they're sticking to the chord tones and they're embellishing by just passing the notes. And then the other good thing is something like Diana Krall is someone I really like because she doesn't overdo it. She doesn't run up and down. She sticks to these little 5-note patterns. Just kind of working in and out and whatever. So I guess that's the basis, is just start with learning the chords and then learn it 2 hands, mirroring the 2. And then do it with the bass. And again, all I'm doing is fidgeting between the chord tones. And then I remember the days of just keeping time, hanging around in sleepy towns forever, back roads empty for miles. Well, you can't have a dream and cut it to fit, but when I saw you I knew we'd go together like a wink and a smile. Leave your old jalopy down by the railroad tracks. We'll get a hip double dip tip-toppy, a 2-seat Pontiac, so you can rev her up, don't go slow, it's only green lights and alright. Let's go together like a wink and a smile. We go together like a wink and a smile.